Bro, you see marketing director for VP of marketing for Bud Light got laid off, or is not laid off. She's on like a
hiatus,
leave of absence, as the global marketing VP has stepped in.
The global guy. The global's like, hey, listen. I deal with lots of different people around the world who also don't put up with, some of the trans issues and whatever else, and they're like, let me show you how we do it down in South America.
Bro, have you seen the Budweiser commercial, the new one?
I have.
Tell me that's not the most ridiculous, like underhanded, like Americans are dumb and they'll forget.
It made me proud to be American.
Oh, come on, Pat.
But here's what I would say. Because since I knew what it was like, this is bad. But it was just, what's funny was like, if this other thing hadn't happened in that play, you'd just be like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Bud.
beer commercial. But it's so.
Oh, but it's like, oh yeah.
It's like, so like Americans are dumb and they'll just these darn fucking rednecks who are anti-trans. They'll get over it.
Yeah, a grandpa with his child like raising the flag in the morning, and like a welder, Just
I'm gonna play it,
okay,
because of how much I hate it.
All right.
I'll say this: I'm more offended by this commercial. Here's the thing: I guess I wasn't offended by the Dylan Mulvaney thing.
I thought it was funny and stupid.
I thought it was really bad marketing.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, I guess I've been boycotting Bud Light for years now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't drink Bud Light. I don't really drink anything Budweiser. But I thought it was dumb marketing, and now this is their like backpedal.
Mm-hmm.
And they backpedaled so hard that all I can think of is like, the car that's like parallel parked and it's just forward into like one car, then reverse into another car. That's exactly what this feels like. But here's the commercial.
So for the visual, there's Clydesdales running through the streets,
classic Clydesdales,
and just American West ideals popping up on the screen. But you don't even have to see it to know what you're hearing.
Dust and sunrise is what a lot of it is.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you a story about a beer. Rooted in the heart of America.
Ruining small families.
Found in a community where a handshake is a sure contract. Brewed for those who found opportunity in challenge and hope in tomorrow. Raised by generations, willing to sip, share, risk, remember.
So ridiculous.
This is a story bigger than beer. This is the story of the American spirit.
So, like, all right, it's not Bud Light, it's Budweiser, made by Anheuser-Busch. But like, it's just so like
they should have
blatant.
They should have doubled down and had Dylan Mulvaney on the Clydesdale at the end.
Yeah,
just riding.
Yeah. Dylan Mulvaney just like fucking dressed backflips,
dressed like what's the sharpshooter girl from Wild Bill's show?
I don't know.
McLean. She was back in the Wild Bill show. Anyways, just. She was a sharpshooter woman, but anyways, Annie Oakley.
Oh, Annie Oakley,
just dressed like Annie Oakley coming in there.
Dude, I just fucking like when there's like, we're a handshake. What are you saying here? You know what I mean? Like,
I have to sign a receipt when I buy a pack of bubble gum, dude.
Yeah.
Handshake hasn't mean shit for years, dude.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. I lament that fact. I wish the handshake, because I like I don't like to deal in contracts. I don't like to deal in a litigious society. Like, I think handshake deals and like your word is your bond and your family name matters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty dope. And like, don't come in here with that.
I thought it was so like it shows the the man and woman raising up the American flag, and like literally on his like black rain jacket it says "Land of the Free" or something like that, and I'm just like, dude, what the? They got to think we're dumb. Like this is like what you do. You're like, hey guys, let's take our licks and let's do this ad at next year's Super Bowl, and we'll just take our licks for this year. You know what I mean? And it's just like, because this ad coming out of the Super Bowl, people might be like, all right, you know what? They've been in timeout long enough.
Yeah.
Someone go give me a fucking Budweiser. Yeah. Like
2 weeks later, though.
Wipe the tears out of their eyes. Like, gosh damn it. Football beer. I'm a man and I love it. And now, no, this is just like, so you think I'm dumb? You think I'm flippant? You think you can say some nice things? Show me some nice pictures? Some dust on some boots, and I'm just gonna forget. I'm just gonna forget how you misvalued me.
They should. What they should show is like a kid like sneaking into like his parents' refrigerator, like his dad's garage refrigerator, and like drinking it. And then it shows him like at like 20, like leaving a party, but like and like passing out on the road, and then him at like 35, like opening his wallet and like getting out his like last dollar to like you know, like he sees like a toy in the window, but then he like turns and like spends his last dollar on another can, and then he gets home and like, you know, just passes out on the couch, and his like wife and kids, so he hasn't seen in a while, you know. Like I think that'd be like a pretty like,
what the fuck?
You know, like, hey, Bud Light, that's what, dude,
Budweiser,
whatever, that's what it is, that's what it do.
It's the beer of alcoholics.
Yeah, no, it's like nobody be fooled by advertising on any of this stuff, especially around like alcohol ads and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like it'll wreck lives if you're not careful, and it can be enjoyed and responsibly. Yeah, and but just the in general, like even for like even either side to be like, oh, we're left or oh, we're right. It's like just in the end of the commercial,
Spade's a spade.
It just shows like are they a public company? Yeah, stocks. You know, so at the end it just shows like some dude on his yacht just like counting his dollars, you know, and just like all happy because all these people buy his product.
I think they should have just done something like to absolutely just piss on like their target audience more.
Just double down.
No, even more than that. Just like piss on everybody.
Yeah,
and just show like literally the board of like, you know, these are actors, not the actual board of directors. And they're just like sitting on stacks of dollar bills or stacks of hundreds, whatever. Yeah. And they're just like, so we had an ad come out that wasn't too popular and people were boycotting. And, well, our money went from this. And then like, you just see like just a little like stack of
like little tiny little,
just go boop.
Yeah,
he's like to this, and we're sorry about it.
Yeah,
like it's just something like that. So everyone's just like, fuck these guys. Like they don't give a shit about transgender or any ideals. Like,
don't worry, you'll come back.
The VP of marketing just was like, let's tap into this market. She said some shit of like, we want to get rid of our fratty hangover image. And I'm just like,
good luck,
because that's all that's kind of the people who buy your beer. And even then, I can't remember that many frat parties that were buying Bud Light over Natty Light. Natty Light was definitely the beer of frat parties. All I said, I just thought it was funny, and I thought that was just like more like piss in the wind. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh yeah, you just gotta someone stop you. Stop you before you just absolutely destroy yourself. Yeah. But anyways, that was funny. What were you going to talk about, Pat? You seemed like you had something on your mind before I brought up the new commercial.
Oh yes. I was reading the end of a letter from the president, George Washington, of his farewell address.
Oh.
So, I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'll read the last two paragraphs.
Bro, do it.
Just because. You'll hear a different way of speaking than it used to be. Used to be then versus how it is now. Had a way with words. So this is when he's, excuse me, George Washington's leaving And he says he's not going to run for another term. And so this is what he wrote to let everybody know. And it's a very long document. I haven't read the whole thing, but I just was perusing it and read the last paragraphs. And it says, though in reviewing the incidents of my administration, I am unconscious of intentional error, I am nevertheless too sensible to my defects not to think it probable that I may have committed many errors. Whatever they may be, I fervently beseech the Almighty to avert or mitigate the evils to which they may tend. I shall also carry with me the hope that my country will never cease to view them with indulgence, and that after 45 years of my life dedicated to its service with an upright zeal, the faults of incompetent abilities will be consigned to oblivion, as myself must soon be to the mansions of rest. Relying on its kindness, this is as in other things, and actuated by the fervent love towards it with... Sorry, I'm back up. Tongue-tied by this fancy speech here, dude. I don't use these $10 words. Relying on its kindness, in this as in other things, and actuated by the fervent love towards it, which is so natural to a man who views it in the native soil of himself and his progenitors. Progenitors is things of which you descended from. For several generations, I anticipate with pleasing expectation that retreat in which I promise myself to realize, without alloy, the sweet enjoyment of partaking in the midst of my fellow citizens the benign influence of good laws under a free government, the ever-favorite object of my heart, and the happy reward, and I trust, of our mutual cares, labors, and dangers. George Washington, 19th September, 1796. So, kind of a word salad, but I have a few thoughts about it.
Hey, please provide me, because I was listening to it and I was wondering what this is going to apply to.
Yeah. So, one, he kicks it off with talking about his errors, and he says, I don't know of any, but I'm not too sensible of my defects to think that it probable that I may have committed many errors. And then he goes on to ask that the Lord avert or mitigate those evils to which they might have been. And I just think about like the leadership I see now in countries all across the world. Like there's zero ability to ever admit fault. You got to deny everything. You have to always flip the script, make it seem like you have it all together, like you never did anything wrong. And just seeing this humility from a guy who was in charge of this new nation, I think is pretty awesome to see that humility and recognition of his faults and acknowledging that he doesn't even know to what end those faults might bring the country, but he knows and he understands the gravity of his position to ask, the Lord to even to take his wrongs and mitigate them, to help them, whatever the path I've set this country on, help it in my own humanness that I couldn't do, steer us back. And then he goes on to talk about his 45 years and life dedicated with service, and thinking about this guy who is, as a young man, fighting these crazy long and intense wars, laying, and he was in charge of the army, but he wasn't sitting in the Pentagon with an air conditioner.
No, dude, his feet were bleeding walking in the snow.
Yeah, he was leading his men. Yeah, he had more comforts than them, no doubt. But he had like a tent instead of, nothing. Or he had like a new pair of boots, and he had someone who'd bring him dinner, sure. But like he was out there in it with these guys. There's always that iconic photo or painting of him leading the men sneaking across the Potomac in the night. Have you seen that picture? Mm-hmm. And I kind of...
that was isn't that the one where on the way back from that battle, they so many people died in the cold, and like they a lot of their like feet were like bleeding and getting frostbite?
I believe so, because it was a really cold, hard winter. They were kind of running out of resources, and the Continental Army was in rough shape. And so this man who spent a life of service to the country and really earnestly fighting for what he believed in, fighting either with sword or pen or in leadership, I find that admirable. And then at the end of that first paragraph, he says, he's talking about his faults and his incompetent abilities. And he says, I hope that they'll be consigned to oblivion, that they will go away. And then he says, as myself must soon be to the mansions of rest. You know, he's not talking about nursing homes. Mm-hmm. He's talking about, hey, I know I'm not going to be here forever. I know I'm going to die. And I hope that just in the way that I'm going to have to leave this world and go rest, I hope that my mistakes can be put to rest. And looking at our leadership now, too, I just think, like, I think they don't think they're humans, man. Like, to a point. I think that they think they're demigods. They're up above all of it, and they're chasing down these things. And, like,
they've ascended.
They have, you know.
They're above us.
And so I just see this guy who's just a human. And then in the last paragraph, he's talking about, he gets kind of poetic, talking about native soil of himself and where he comes from for several generations. He's saying, you know, like, already for a couple generations, this has been my home. And, like, now, you know, so he feels ownership over this place and connectedness to this new place. And he is talking about retiring. You know, he says, I want to have the sweet enjoyment of partaking in the midst of my fellow citizens, the benign influence. Benign typically medically means, you know, doesn't matter. In this case, means kindly. So he's saying, of my fellow citizens, the kindly influence of good laws under a free government, the ever-favorite object of my heart, and the happy reward. And I think about that, and I think about all these, like, late 70s, 80-year-olds who are in office running our country and dividing it further and further. And I just go, like, all the time I'm always thinking to myself, I'm like, bro, lady, it's time for you to go be with your grandkids. Go get a fishing pole out. Enjoy some life. And so, like, Washington in this, he's like, we live under kind, good laws in a free government. And I'm going to go, what he's saying is, hey, I'm going to go enjoy this now for a little bit. Like, I've done my thing. I've put in my time. I've served this country. And to the best of which I could, which I probably messed up some. And I hope that doesn't come to haunt anybody. But now, you know what? I'm going to hang it up. I'm going to go enjoy my fellow citizens. I'm going to enjoy this land under a free government. And he resigns. Or not resigns, but decides to not continue forward and to go into office again. And so I think that, and he says to them, he's entrusting them with their mutual cares, labors, and dangers. He's just passing the baton and taking time to enjoy what he's built, what he's been a part of building, what he's fought for. And I never read this before just a few minutes ago, but I think that it's really powerful. I think that it's funny. I read that this gets read in the Senate every year. It's like the longest standing. It's the longest standing tradition. This gets read every year.
That's pretty sick, though.
It's pretty sick, and, like, they're just not listening, or they're not taking it to heart. Like, and I just think that, like, whether you're on the right or the left side of this thing, it's like, hey, man, like, hang it up. You've done what you can. Go enjoy these free laws. You know, and while America is, you know, right now we are feeling divided. We're in a bad place. Like, there's the fact remains that, like, I think this is still the freest and most prosperous country currently in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And while we feel like we're headed towards maybe we could be headed away from that, as it stands, it still is that. And so just, I think that people need some reminders, and maybe even us as the lowly people of the United States, just to partake with your fellow citizens of these good laws in a free government. you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like it is sad to see politicians. I think we can, if you like, especially watch some of these older videos, I think you can see where a lot of these politicians stop being politicians and started being cronies.
Yep.
Like you can see a lot of them did start out caring about their voter base and representing them, and then like once it became a thing where I was like, well, I don't really have to worry about getting kicked out of this, you know? Like,
yeah,
I'll be here for the next 30 to 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just stopped caring, and they became all about how to like keep themselves wealthy, rich, and powerful. Dude, I'll tell you right now, like, I think the most egregious example that I could think of recently,
mm-hmm.
just by watching like the way he votes and has been interacting, and how he started,
mm-hmm.
Dan Crenshaw, dude. I have no ounce of respect left for Dan Crenshaw with like the way he's been, the things he's been voting for and voting against on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that video where he like was literally like recorded being broadcast live when they were proposing the bill to essentially make it so if you work, like if you're a politician in the U.S. government, you cannot buy, sell, or trade stock. And Dan Crenshaw says, well, how are we supposed to make money? It's like, I don't know, Dan. How about the $400,000 a year you get paid?
Besides all your book sales.
Yeah. No kidding. Like, it's like, what do you mean, how are you supposed to make money?
Right.
Like, after that $400,000, you're at the perfect amount of $250 after taxes. And it's just like, tell me, man, how is that not enough to live and thrive in the U.S.?
Yeah.
And it's just fucking bonkers, dude. And to see him go from a dude who was like essentially all about bringing balance and, you know, law and order and making sure the executive branch stayed checked by the judicial and legislative, and the executive was going after the judicial for being, you know, out of line, and the legislative for being out of line.
Yeah.
And all this talk about catching people breaking the laws and, you know, bringing some good old, like,
he kind of rode the coattails of like the drain the swamp mentality and all that.
He did, and now he's there, and he is the swamp, dude. He is 100, and he's young. And I'm just looking at him, I'm like, fucking hell, damn it.
Like when we're old,
Dan Crenshaw's going to be fucking old and still there.
When we're old men, we're like, oh, there's old Dan still up there, you know?
I'm going to be so pissed about it, dude. I mean, and that's the way, like, that's what I expect, though, for, like, AOC. You know? That's what I expect for, like, her and that kind of, like, East Coast cronyism.
Yeah.
Of, like, know the right people, and they essentially just groom you to take their place when they retire to keep them nice and comfortable.
Yep.
And you just come in to live the same career as they did.
Yeah.
And, like, but, dude, you see these people who are, like, working up, coming up, like, they don't have family member ties or things like that. Like, they did a career in the military or like kind of blue collar workforce for a while, and now they got a platform, and they went from, you know, a local politician who helped people and bettered the community to, you know, listening to their voter base and go up to like wider and wider county, state, and now here they are at, like, you know, sitting at a federal level as a senator of Georgia, Texas, whatever. And dude, they just roll over, and they're just only interested in staying comfortable for the next 50 years, 60 years.
They start becoming fat cats.
Yeah. There needs to be limits, man. We need to have like age limits, and we need to have term limits. And I think it's just so dumb that we don't have term limits.
Smoke break.
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution.
Yeah. And even like a
4 terms, bro.
Or like 35 years of service. Like meaning like that could be used in different applications, whatever. Like, you know,
you can be 35 years of service, but it could be like 10 years in the House.
Right.
10 years in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Your 8 years as president.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be fine with that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think like it's right for the Senate to be able to serve for their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, the House of Representatives to be able to serve for their whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I think just unending continuous terms is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I guess I should clarify. I know the terms end and they are up for re-election.
Right.
But the fact that they can just keep going and going and going forever, I think is wrong.
Because which one is it? One has amount of term limits and then one doesn't.
I don't know. I think Senate isn't Senate every 2 years, and the House of Representatives might be every 4. Can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one has 6.
Which one's 6?
Oh, we're getting bad information from old Google here. Senators are for 6-year terms, and every 2 years, members of one class, approximately 1/3 of the senators, face election or re-election. Okay, so it's 6-year terms in the Senate. And then Congress is 6-year terms is what? Or senators are the same as Congress. My U.S. civics here is the lack of is showing through here. I'm just reading off of Google keeps giving me these for states and things, but Craig, get to the bottom of it. Get back to us with the list so we can educate ourselves.
Classic delegation to Craig. We're kind of the politicians of this podcast.
That's true. The elite overlords.
I'm gonna start going by the name Nancy.
Dude, there's just some people, their faces just make me cringe.
That one.
You know, and yes, I'm sorry, it's pretty much all lefties, but just like...
No, dude, come on.
There's
it's not just lefties.
For me, like
what
the
about
ones that,
like Turtle McConnell?
Oh, yeah.
Like Mitch looks like a fucking turtle.
No, he definitely does. But like any picture of Hillary Clinton, I'm just like, ooh. You can just see the evil. You can just see the evil in there. Isma, like from Emperor's New Groove.
It's like down in the grooves of her wrinkles where like
yeah.
they have to go with a wash rag to like wash it out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You ever thought about running for public service?
I don't think so. No. You know how we talked about how like kids are dumb and they do stupid stuff and they really need to like we kids don't send nudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was dumb and I definitely have sent pictures of my wiener to pictures of my wiener out there. Like like I don't know, they're not like on the internet, but dude, there's definitely times where I was like Snapchatting a girl and definitely sent inappropriate pictures. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so I'm just at the point where I'm like, I never did anything nefarious or anything like that. You know what I mean? But like, I just know like if I ever ran for office and someone was like, hey, like, here's a picture of his, here's him sending a picture of his wang at like, 21.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if it was 21. I'd have to really reassess and go through the clock. I don't think it was 21 because I think I deleted Snapchat by then, but maybe not. But anyways, it was just one of those things where it's just like, they could be like, CNN, I'll sell you this photo for $2,000. And then it's like, yep. It's like, what am I going to do at that point? Be like, that's not me. No. Like,
dude, any press is good press, baby.
I don't think so, dog.
Hey, I'm just
I
saying.
don't think so. But that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, it's just not worth the headache. And like, good old Billie Jean, God bless her soul. She knows I was a dumb, young, testosterone-filled young man. And even though I didn't sleep around or like have sex, that just thought with my other brain occasionally and did not think about the consequences or results of my actions before saying, hey, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess if you want to see my weenie.
I think now this will be the only documented case of admittance. I think before this podcast, you were good to go.
I think most people who actually like listen to this and know me in real life know for sure that like I made not like, I mean, let's be real, bro. Let's be honest here. We both went to college. My confession of having sent pictures of my junk is probably white bread compared to the things that we saw other people doing in person.
This is true.
You know what I mean? Like it's just that I have the cojones to say, yeah, that happened, and I'm not proud of it, but like, whatever. What are you gonna do? You can't take it back. And I think like, dude, I mean, tell me I'm wrong here, but like, did you ever go to parties in college or anything like that? Or
a few, but not a ton, but enough that is.
Tell me you didn't see some pretty hooligan ass shit from some drunk people doing some pretty
I saw
naked shenanigans.
I'd say I saw and heard of, my fair share of, debauchery.
Tell me this, Pat. Level with me.
Yeah.
Has a camera ever been able to get a picture of your wang?
Well, I'd say this.
Okay, so that's yes.
Well, because here's it. I've never sent photos of myself out there, but there was.
I've never sent anything unsolicited.
It was medical documentation of a situation that was going on.
No, come on, bro.
No, I'm being honest. So this is like the only time was honestly there was medical documentation.
I have to rescind my statement. I definitely have sent unsolicited pictures of my. But here's the situation. I'm gonna level with you, right? I had a bit that I pulled a lot my freshman year of college. I don't know why, but it just became a funny bit. I thought it was hilarious. And I got some really good laughs as feedback that I thought was hilarious. But I would just use Snapchat to take a picture of my nuts. And then I would just draw around them and like just draw them out essentially. So like I would make them like Balbert Einstein and like just like use the wrinkles and stuff to like look like Albert Einstein's furrowed hair.
Oh
like,
my god!
And then or I do like Ball Man and it'd just be Batman, but my nuts. But they were mostly drawn out, But like you could tell, like, wait a second.
I did have a buddy who would.
And I never sent that to chicks. I always sent that to just the buddies.
I think there's a difference between some, funny bro stuff versus like, whatever. Yeah, soliciting, whatever. But I had a buddy who would, if you left a device unlocked and available, the next time you turned on the laptop or phone, there was a chance that you were getting a deep look into the brown eye.
Oh,
yeah.
I'd be more grossed out by that.
But I walked into a room once, and he was trying to get the picture, but he was doing it to someone's like desktop computer. It's this guy. This guy's a big dude, and he was standing on a rolly chair, He was standing on a desk of a rolly chair.
Wow.
Pants around his ankles, bent over, trying to reach back and click the mouse. And it was one of the funniest sights
That's incredible.
I've ever seen. Because then he yells at me, hey, come help me take this picture. I was like, no, dude, not doing it. Anyways.
I mean, that's funny. That's funny. I'm trying to, but those are like, I gotta be honest, man. Like, I think I sent more comedic pictures of my junk or like just more comedic naked photos to make fun of friends.
Right.
And like give them a hard time. I do feel bad though, because I actually stopped cold turkey when I sent one of those. Gosh, I can't remember what it was. I think it was the version of like when I drew my balls as the Flash, and my buddy was like, I just opened that in front of my wife. I was like, all right, enough of that. Like real life consequences, and honestly, it was like I knew his wife, right?
Yeah.
Like we were friends as well, and I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so bad. Like I'm so. And there it was
he
like,
should have known not to be checking Snap next to his
yeah,
wife.
he
like
should
that,
know not to
bro.
open my Snapchats near you. Like,
know, dude.
Come on.
Oh my gosh,
That was I think that was the last time I did it. Like I really do think that was the time I was like, there's consequences now and I need to grow up. I've
never sent it out to the interwebs that way at all because, dude, I'm just better than you. But no, I'm just kidding.
Dude, why beat around the bush?
No,
Pat, you're superior.
No,
I'll live with it.
No, here's why. Because I'm a coward. I'm too afraid of that.
Bro, there's never a point with Mrs. Pat where she was like,
nope.
No, wow.
It's not. I know. It's not a thing.
Even married?
Not a thing for us.
I mean, that's all right. That's. I mean, it's Billie Jean and I don't do that.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where like I know of a lot of married couples who do that, and I feel like those are usually married couples who never did it outside of marriage.
Oh yeah, because now they're like now it's free game.
Spice it up.
Exactly. But I'm just too afraid of clicking send it to the wrong person, send it to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And like just like it's out there forever. Also, there's this thing called like sometimes like there's the iCloud in the screensaver.
Yeah.
And so like you don't even remember that like you logged into your grandma's like they do those picture frames that just like have pictures, like a digital picture frame that the pictures are just rolling on it all the time.
Yeah, I just got my grandma one of those.
Yeah, dude. So you better check to make it set up right because sometimes you just have that connected to the cloud. And the cloud's a little better about this now, but it used to be like you'd have a picture and you'd delete it off your phone, but still in the cloud, and you'd think it's gone forever, but that device is connected to the cloud. So every picture you've ever taken now is like pinging up on grandma's rolling like display.
Yeah.
And so, man, that sort of thing, that's what my mind goes to. Just like, it's too risky. It's too permanent.
That checks out though. That checks out.
Yeah, man. Craig just handed this over. President, as we know, you can have 2 4-year limits. There's a couple little caveats in there around secession and vice presidency. If you're vice president, become president, blah blah blah. But vice president, it's unlimited for 4 years. That would be the gig, man. If you're just like the vice president. There's always
over and over.
There's just
But have you heard that the vice president is like the most like non-job?
That's what I'm saying. It's the gig, bro. Imagine like people just know that forever. Imagine like you're Paul Rudd. Everybody loves you. Nobody hates you.
You run for VP.
You're the Paul Rudd of vice presidents. And so left or right, they just know like, oh, we got to get Paul on here. We got to get him. You got to get him on there. So you just, whatever ticket you run, it's winning. And you just vice president it up for life, bro. It'd be legit.
Yeah. I mean, because you would know Paul Rudd wants to keep that like vice president get going.
Oh yeah.
You see, whoever he like lines up with, he thinks is gonna be the winning horse.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't matter like if it's Republican or Democrat. He's like, I just want to stay in the White House, baby.
Yeah, dude. So I'd love to see someone just keep riding that train, unless they're a horrible ass dictator. But House of Representatives unlimited 2-year terms, Senate unlimited 6-year terms. Then Supreme Court, no term limits appointed.
Checks.
So
checks out.
Unlimited. The only limited one is the old Presidente.
Yeah, that's what I said, bro.
Yeah.
And you didn't believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Classic Craig having my back.
I thought this world was a better place. That they'd already figured that out.
Yeah, big mistake, bud.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and obviously all the solutions are easier said than done, but I would love to see people get in, do their time, do some good. Here's the deal, even if I disagree with the good they believe they're doing, they believe it and they're doing it, and they get in, they do it, and they get out. And yeah.
Is that your? Okay. Because I didn't know if there was more to add to that.
That's pretty much it. Pretty basic.
I don't really know of anyone who was the last politician that was famous enough you knew their name and then they got out and they're like, I'm done.
I don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think there were some guys after World War II, military leaders, who like continued service in a military or shifted from serving in the military over into serving in DC, and they just did it for a while and they got out. I like it. I like that. And I think the cool thing about, and you brought Dan Crenshaw, but like I think in general, maybe not in general is the wrong word, but I think that people who have been in the military, in lots of cases, you get all sorts in the military. So you have all kinds of people. But in my little ideal world of thinking about it, I think that, and I think this is true, at least at the beginning too, is like lots of people get in there from an earnest place of service, and then also learn, even if it's not from an earnest place of service, you learn about true service, and you develop maybe have a chance at least developing an understanding of service outside of yourself, service for a bigger cause. And so I think that while you do have people in the military for their own personal gain, I think people coming from the military do have a little bit of a better shot in some cases of maybe understanding, what service looks like as something that's bigger than themselves.
I think so too, but think about how bloated and nasty the U.S. Armed Forces is too, with like bad leaders who just stay in for the whole time.
Oh yeah, it's got the same issue now.
Sometimes I feel like the people are like, well, this isn't fun anymore. I'm gonna go be a politician.
I'm talking like I want Mustangs in there. I want the dude who showed up, he enlisted, he learned, and he did his job really good. Then he decided, you know what? I could see my leadership skills being better used as an officer. He went and became an officer, kept leading, doing what was right for people around him, climbed the ranks. That's way fewer and far between, but that's like those types are what I have in mind of like, having that understanding, deep understanding and conviction to service.
Yeah, no, I get you, and I agree. I don't know. I guess I'm really hopeful that enough people of this generation, like enough of the youth, younger than you and I, are traumatized by how god awful politics is right now.
Yep.
That when they go in, they just go into freaking like do it right. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's probably something that every generation says.
I think so. It's just hard because, dude, like, who was the guy who won class president? There's a popularity contest mixed with the guy who got up in front and gave the one speech at school and promised free pizzas on Fridays.
And farted.
And then farted in the microphone and did a Backstreet Boys skit sing-along. And then, guess what happened? No free pizza. That's what happened.
Yeah, I remember never getting free pizza.
Yeah, you never get it's so those things are so funny too, because you get up there and like, what are you gonna actually do there's nothing to actually do for the people. But you're like,
I have no money. I'm a student just like you.
Yeah. We will have school dances, and there will be we will spike the punch bowl at the dance. I don't know, but the big popularity contest is a problem. But then you got to kind of play the game to get in there too. Got to win the popularity contest.
Yeah. Do you think you could ever do it? I mean, you got a clean record, bro.
I think that
you haven't sent wiener pics to nobody.
It's never too late.
Never too late to start.
It's never too late to start.
Never too late to self-destruct.
Yep. No. I think I'm too much of a pushover to get into politics, dude. I'm too much of like an idealist also.
Mean?
I think you got to be able to kind of not play dirty, but like you got to be able to rub shoulders. You got to be able, like, it's like
grease palms,
and like, and there's that aspect too of like, there's like the, all right, we're doing this for the greater good. We're doing this because we're gonna make this agreement here because it's gonna give us a big win in this area, or or just playing rough, fighting a little dirty. I don't know if I have it in me to do that sort of thing. I think lots of people think this. I think I'd be halfway decent at having conversations and discussions with people around a topic and being able to have a conversation from every angle of that topic and attempt to come to the best decision for, weigh out all the possibilities and say, okay, so here's all the good, here's all the bad, and here's why we're going to do it this way, even though we know that the bad things are going to happen from it. But if you admit that any bad things are coming from it, nobody wants to hear that.
It's true.
So, yeah, I don't think I'd be a huge fan of it.
Well, Pat, I have something that I think can really cheer you up here.
You gonna announce your candidacy for mayor?
Yes.
Out in Kersey. I've thought about what would it be like to be being a mayor in a small town,
useless town
would be so horrible. Like, because
so?
of, well, I think that here's the, I think because here's the deal. I think when I initially think about it, I think, oh, that'd be so fun and cool. I think it'd be great. Like I think the same thing. Like if you were the sheriff of a small town, I think it'd be great. But then you think about like small town politics are like worse than like almost like county, state, and federal. Like, because it's like, Mrs. Jones is complaining about like the color of the fence again, out front of the building and whatever else, and ancient feuds between two families and dealing with weird just BS. It'd be like it's like being on like Parks and Rec, the show,
That's not what I was gonna say, but I like to listen to you. No, man, I was gonna say I think it's time, just like last week, to take a stop and check in with Carlson's Lemons.
Tuck your lemons.
Tuck your lemons.
Yeah.
I got one here generated.
All right, let's hear it.
I haven't read it yet, but I definitely told it to be more thorough in the prompt and stuff like that. So we'll see what we got here. Okay.
All right.
For our listeners out there, if you haven't listened to our last episode, we had the chat Google Bard generate debate between Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson on various topics, because they're both free agents, and we think it'd be hilarious if they got together to do a show where they just debate anything. But the whole time they're drinking beer and like making cocktails for one another.
Yeah.
So it's polite but funny, and they yell but they shake hands.
Yes. On this episode of Tuck Your Lemons.
You love using that whenever you can, right? Whenever you can insert that.
I feel like we use it pretty sparingly.
Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson debating which was better, cats or dogs.
Oh man,
dude, I think Don Lemon's gonna be a cat guy. I'm just going.
I think so too.
He's gonna be a cat guy. It is entertaining but not malicious, and it has some silly insults. And yeah, it's I told it had to be at least 1,000 words or more.
Oh wow.
So, scene. Television studio. Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon are sitting at a desk facing the camera. Oh, just like you said. They're facing the camera.
Yeah, I think they should be facing
they're not looking at each other.
They should be facing the camera debating as if they're in two different studios.
Tucker Carlson. So, Don, we're here today to debate the age-old question. Which is better, cats or dogs? Don Lemon. I'm a dog person, Tucker. I've always been a dog person. Tucker Carlson. Well, I'm a cat person. I've always been a cat person. Don Lemon. Cats are better than dogs. Tucker Carlson. Dogs are better than cats. Immediately swap.
Wait, yeah, so time out. Back up.
Don Lemon. Just to rewind. Don Lemon. I'm a dog person, Tucker. I've always been a dog person, Tucker Carlson. Well, I'm a cat person. I've always been a cat person, Don Lemon. Cats are better than dogs. Like, immediately agrees with
already
Tucker.
Swayed him.
Oh, okay, Tucker. Yeah, cats are better than dogs.
Tucker can't stand to also agree with him. Yeah, so he's switching too.
Tucker Carlson repulsed that Don Lemon is just rolled over like a good boy. Dogs are better than cats. Don Lemon. Cats are cleaner than dogs. Tucker Carlson. Dogs are more loyal than cats. Don Lemon. Cats are more independent than dogs. Tucker Carlson. Dogs are more fun than cats. Don Lemon. Cats are more cuddly than dogs. Tucker Carlson. Dogs are more protective than cats. Don Lemon. Cats are more intelligent than dogs. Tucker Carlson. Dogs are more trainable than cats. Don Lemon. Cats are more stylish than dogs. Tucker Carlson. Dogs are more useful than cats. Don Lemon. Cats are more popular than dogs.
I feel like they're firing these off at lightning speed, back and forth. They're just going, they're just back
shouting.
And forth.
Dogs are more loved than cats. Cats are better than dogs. Dogs are better than cats. That's literally how it ends. The two men continue to argue back and forth, each one trying to convince the other that their pet of choice is superior. The argument gets more and more heated, and the two men start to throw insults at each other. Hell yeah. Tucker Carlson, you're just a cat person because you're aloof and unloving. Don Lemon, and you're just a dog person because you're needy and clingy. Tucker Carlson, at least dogs are man's best friend. Don Lemon, cats are independent and don't need anyone. Tucker Carlson, dogs are loyal and will always be there for you. Don Lemon, cats are mysterious and always keep you guessing. The two men continue to argue for a while longer, but eventually they both start to laugh. Oh,
wow.
Tucker Carlson, I imagine he's stacking papers. Like, Don, I think we can agree to disagree. Don Lemon, I think you're right, Tucker. Tucker Carlson, after all, we're both just big softies who love our pets. Don Lemon, that's right. And that's all that matters. The two men shake hands and hug. I fucking love it, dude. This is the fucking most awesome thing ever.
Oh
Tucker
God.
Carlson, it was a pleasure debating with you, Don. Don Lemon, the pleasure was all mine, Tucker. The two men go their separate ways, each one still believing that their pet of choice is superior, but they both know that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that we love our pets.
Oh my goodness. And this has been another Tuck Your Lemons.
Another Tuck Your Lemons, folks. That was great.
This might be my favorite new segment. We don't even have this. This is a segment worthy of revisiting.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Do you think they could sue us if we made voice models out of them to just like I could pre-record this so they just argue and then I could bring it and play it each week?
No, maybe
we're not selling their voice.
We're not defaming them in any way.
No,
like what's SNL do? SNL gets up and shits on the presidents.
Yeah,
so can't we?
Bro, honestly, AI could put SNL out of business because that Parmesan provolone could have been a great SNL skit.
Oh yeah,
and if they do it with just actual AI voice generation and animation, bro, that's better than anything SNL can put out
for sure.
Anyways, hilarious stuff. Good shit. Pat, I wanted to ask you. I mean, we're kind of coming up towards the end of this one, but I figured, just kind of end questions to kind of be discussing and pondering. You much of a comedy guy?
Like listening to stand up?
Yeah, listen to stand up.
Or like watching Ryan Reynolds and a girl in a romantic comedy flick.
More of the stand up.
Yeah.
I meant stand up and like, or listening to like stand up podcasts.
Yeah. I do like it. I'm not like an aficionado, but I'd say like I consume a fair amount, like once a week, consuming the stand ups.
I'm thinking we should start hitting up the local comedy club.
Oh yeah,
and then seeing if any of the comedians want to be guests.
All right.
And not give them like time to do the material, but just like, hey, come on and talk and banter.
All right.
And then, they just get to see, like, they get to try to be funny, I guess, just by bantering. And then I feel like it would give us a little bit more local connection and plug us more in. But what do you think about that? I think that'd be funny.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
It could give us a chance to sharpen our wit with the witty.
And I don't know, something maybe this goes back to my fantasy of being spanked. What?
Yeah.
But I guess I kind of like getting light roasted, I always like getting a light roast. Like, I love being able to laugh at myself. I feel like it's something that keeps me healthy and humble. And bro, I feel like having like every once in a while a new guest comedian spot where they get to just roast us. Also, I'd feel better if they roasted, you and Craig, and then I wouldn't feel like I'm the one that has to make those
singled
jokes.
out. Yeah.
Some people told me recently, they're like, it's crazy because I know you in person. Mick, I know you outside of the podcast, and you've definitely taken the niche of being the funny asshole on the podcast with the way you talk to Craig. I was like, I guess I have. And that's not who I am in real life.
No.
I don't know. Am I, Pat? Am I the funny asshole in real life? Would you say in the things our Venn diagram of social interactions, would you say in those circles I'm the funny asshole?
Maybe you've just getting to live out this dream using with this anonymity.
I was gonna say maybe the anonymity is giving me too much power.
Yeah, like do you wake up in the morning, look at the mirror, and you're like, Mick,
I can't wait to spank Craig with my belt later today. Can't wait to tell him to put his hands on the table so I can thwack him with the ruler. No, I'm just kidding. I've never raised my hand to Craig. I only threatened to do it.
Yeah, when we do start our Patreon soon.
Honestly, Craig could probably suplex me.
Well, it's true.
Let's be real.
He's a big man, but he's weirdly shaped.
I would say he strikes me as aerobic. Like, he strikes me as like ropey. Like, it'd be hard to pin him down.
Yes, contortion-y,
Yeah.
He can get out of the chokeholds.
Like, it's like, you're wrestling with that nerd kid, and then like he just like puts his arms up in like Gumbies out of the headlock.
Because that's the kid who also shows up to the group of hot girls and says, "Hey, watch this," and then dislocates their shoulder.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. and he's like, "I don't know why the girls don't like me."
Yeah.
But I forgot. We were talking about old Craig and his
good old Craig,
his oddly shaped body. But I think that'd be great to have some comedians on here, and we could see what they're all about.
Helps us give a little local, local shout out support.
Yeah. I wonder, dude, I've never been to a local comedy club.
I'm sure
I've gone to see some.
I'm sure there'll be some garbage.
Dude, I've gone to see some big acts.
Yeah.
And it's like, sold out Red Rocks type stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're hilarious. But it's like, how many
even
guys?
Then you're like, man, like, this is a big comedian, and not everything is funny.
Yep.
It's like the local stuff sometimes I feel like is a needle in a haystack,
Oh yeah. And I think for me, the true sign is someone who can stay out of the potty mouth and actually be funny. And I'm not against the potty mouth. I just think that if that's I think everybody can say crazy, outlandish potty mouth things, and it's like, I think anybody can do that, and it be like somewhat funny. But then
if you can tell jokes about cheese and it'd be funny,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Bard is funny, bro. I don't care what people say. Google Bard is funnier than it is accurate.
Hopefully,
Straight Up was arguing with me about today's date, but now it's like actually dropping some funny dialogue.
Oh yeah, I wonder if it's gonna keep on. If we keep with Bard, if it's gonna keep improving upon the Tuck Your Lemons show, because it's going to keep learning. The scary AI bot learning and learning.
Have you heard of the Dry Bar comedy?
No, I haven't.
So Dry Bar comedy is not ironically based out of Utah.
Oh yeah,
it's like a comedy club there where they film, and it's all no profanity, pretty like PG-13 sexual jokes,
mm-hmm.
you know, and it's like a lot of time you're like watching, you're like, gosh, like this is someone's dad or mom, and it's just not.
It's like
it's like chuckle,
the only
but it's not like
this. They're like all 12 homeschoolers in the back of their van.
Yeah, or like their married Bible study group, right?
Yeah,
and it's just like, I don't know, but sometimes, dude, there's a couple dudes, and there's a couple ladies who go on, I would say, like that are actually like with no profanity, with nothing derogatory, with nothing sexually devious or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They just know how to talk about everyday shit and keep it so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, there's some of them that like I watch a lot, and I'm just gonna shout out one of them that I've really gone back to over and over. Let me scroll down to pull up. So Shane Smith is one. He's got like tats on his neck, and he's pretty funny. Kellen Erskine is another one. He's kind of bald and looks like a murderer, like a serial killer. And let me see. I'm trying to find it's not displaying up front of the YouTube page. Let me go to their channel and see if they still got him as like one of their most popular videos. What is this guy's name? Andy, it's loading. He's like the most classic looking, like I don't know, like phoned in stepdad. Like his name's Andy Woodall, and a lot of his jokes are how he married a woman who has kids from a prior marriage, and they're happily married, and he's integrating well as the stepdad. The kids are respectful, but there's just a lot of comedic situations being the stepdad and trying to find your place. And so I encourage you guys to go check him out. Andy Woodall. He's probably my favorite like clean comedian out there. Like keeping things PG to PG-13. Probably one of my favorite bits of his is how his wife, when they had moved in together, said, "What are those?" And Andy's opening a box and he says, "Well, these are my dishes. I've had these dishes for a very long time, and I like them because they're easy to clean and they don't break easy." She says, "But where'd you get those?" He says, "They were given to me by my ex." And she's like, "I don't really want to be eating off the dishes that your ex gave you. Like, how about we get some dishes that we have together?" And he's like, "You don't want to be reminded of my ex every time we eat?" And he's like, "Because there's a couple things running around here that look a lot like your ex that I don't think we can get rid of." And, and I just thought that was like the greatest bit. And it was just like clean and funny. But Dry Comedy Bar is pretty good stuff. Do you have like any comedians that you're like particularly a huge fan of? Like, I get he's weird, man. He is weird, dude, and he says some like politically incorrect stuff, but I will always think he's so funny because no matter what, he will just make me split my sides laughing. Louis C.K. Louis C.K. is so funny.
He's funny.
The fact that he's just a bald, ginger beard, fat guy, and he loves it and embraces it. Yeah, it's like the depressing fat guy comedy. It's not the what was the guy on SNL that was so famous for doing the truffle roll? And he was with Adam Sandler and all. Chris Farley.
Oh yeah.
It's not like the loud, obnoxious Chris Farley fat guy comedy. It's just the like, I masturbate alone to the like news. And I'm just like, man, that is so sad, but that's freaking hilarious. And I just love it, dude. I think he's so funny.
Oh, that is funny. I think like obviously it's like if he's on, I'm watching. It's like Dave Chappelle, you know, like Dave Chappelle, and then like I love like Jim Gaffigan, Bill Burr, you know, like, and those guys. But then one guy I really enjoy a lot is Nate Bargatze.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's
Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, I think I'm saying his last name right, but yeah, I like him. He just tells good jokes, good storyteller.
Does he have a particular special that you're a big fan of?
No, I just like whenever I'm trying to think of if there's one I've seen in particular, but most of his stuff I like. You know, he's gotten even his early stuff is good, but then probably his stuff now is good, but there's always like that sweet spot where it's like they've been doing it for a long time now, but now they really come into their own, but they're not at like this super high level yet, you know, where he is now.
Yeah.
That middle ground is where I like to catch those guys there.
Who's a comedian that you think is a better and maybe perhaps I would use the word funnier, but maybe just more entertaining actor than they are a comedian?
Actor? Oh.
Like I think of John Mulaney.
Yeah.
I don't laugh a lot at his stand-up. I chuckle. But dude, I think he's a great, funny actor. Like I think when he's playing a character, he's hilarious.
Yeah. Someone who I think, this came to mind. This isn't an actor, but I think Theo Von.
Some of those guys are funnier just being a podcaster than they are as a comedian.
Yeah, I think Theo Von shouldn't do stand-up.
I feel the same way about Chris D'Elia.
Yeah,
I don't think Chris D'Elia should do stand-up. No. I think he should just do podcasting.
Yeah, like every time I see Theo Von stand-up, he just looks like he's uncomfortable, out of place, nervous. But then when he's just talking and bantering and doing his thing, like it's genius and hilarious, and just him being himself there, you know, it's like that's so clutch. And like
I think the thing is that the comedy stand-up doesn't show off how quick and witty these guys are.
Right, because those guys that's his whole thing is being quick on his feet and just coming up with stuff. And so when he comes out with
subtle.
When you come out with a script, you know, it's all curated and perfect, and you're the way you deliver it. Whereas when you see him just off the cuff, it's just so genius.
Yeah. This one I know is controversial because they have such a strong fan following. The Wayans brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the Wayans brothers are good comedians. I think they are hilarious comedic actors.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there hasn't been a movie I've seen them in that I haven't laughed at, like, how much they ham it up. You know what I mean? Like, White Chicks, grew up on that movie.
Yeah, it's greatness. Yeah, their stuff is so good. But yeah, same thing. Like, standing up in front, not so much.
Yeah. Can you think of anyone else?
I'm trying to think of anyone else, like...
You ever see Adam Sandler stand up? I think Adam Sandler is another one too where like I mean his stand up's funny.
Yeah.
But I think he's a funnier actor for sure than his stand up. One person though I think is a funnier comedian than they are an actor. Incredible actor still. But way funnier when they're doing their stand up. Robin Williams.
Oh yeah.
Robin Williams' stand up splits my sides open. He's still funny because he gets to do a lot of his own dialogue in movies.
Oh yeah,
but like I just think his like real talent at comedy is only seen when he's doing stand up.
His stuff was out of this world.
Yeah,
and he gets accused of like stealing people's stuff.
Does he?
He does, but I don't think it's fair because of the way his brain is. He's like because there's not like it's not like he's just standing up and doing a scripted bit. He's just standing up and just
riffing.
He's just riffing and things are coming out of him. And so yes, your experiences in your life and things you've heard and things you've said or done, like they're just coming out of you, you know? So it's like some people have said that like, you know, they see some like in like stealing content, but it's like I don't see it as that. I see it as him just like opening Pandora's box of his brain hole and just things are just flying out of there.
I can't think of a thing that I've seen from other comedians that he had stolen in his acts, but I know like he references a lot of like I think he does a lot of reference and like makes it funny. But trying to think of who else too that I can think of. I think I almost would say like I don't think Dave Chappelle does as much like stand up really. I think he's just a very charismatic, good storyteller, and he tells it in a funny way.
Right.
But like, have you ever seen him at like his award stuff or when he's hosting things and he's like not necessarily doing stand-up comedy, he's just talking and he drops some really funny things.
Oh yeah,
but most of the time you're just listening to a great story.
And I've seen lots of clips of him in places even where he'll just keep going after talking or whatever.
Yeah.
And another one popped in my head just now was actually Nick Offerman.
Oh yeah.
I don't like his stand-up.
His stand-up's not the best, but dude, he's a great comedic talent as an actor.
Oh yeah.
You know, he has really good, and I've heard he's like gotten to write a lot of his own lines.
Oh yeah.
So I think he's another one too that's like funnier when he can act it and not as concrete as material doing stand-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think it's an improvised situation. I think that for stand-up comedians, I love throwing on while you're driving, just throwing it on, having some laughs.
We have a whole radio that's just comedy. I think still 103.1.
Oh, is it?
I think it's just still. I mean, it was for a long time just 24/7 comedy, but it might not be anymore. It might have gotten bought out.
Yeah, people need some more laughs. You know.
Oh yeah. Anyways, Ken, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and I was remembering something I was going to say earlier was when we start our Patreon soon or something like that, we will be giving the money to Craig's counseling sessions that Mick has driven him to be needing. So if you want to get in there, help support the mental health of old Craig.
I haven't been driving him to. I just drive him and we go get ice cream.
Yeah. That's what you were talking about doing to him earlier.
You got to balance it out, you know?
Listen, there's no HR here to protect Craig at the Mick and Pat show. So he might need some mental health funded. So anyways, look out for that coming soon.
Yep. All right. Hey, thanks for joining us, Ken. And we appreciate you all. Leave us a review. Check out White Bat Audio. They're our music. And until next time.
Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.